what's going to happen next for Islam? Where are you guys at on that? I read a thread by the kids on the Underground Forum just this morning, and they were predicting that Islam is going to fight for a world championship, but they were resisting that, saying that Islam would be the first person in history to fight for a world championship who had not defeated anybody within the top 5. That's not factually incorrect, but I do feel that that is extremely misleading. Now, hold that thought. It appears if we were to discuss what's next for Islam, we are at 2 places. He's going to continue on. He's going to fight Benny at an undisclosed date because it has been revealed by Benny that his injury is still flaring up. All right. That was for sure the school of thought 2 weeks ago. If that's the one you said, you'd have looked accurate. But now there appears to be, and this is the one that I'm leaning to, that Islam is going to get pulled out of the fight with Benny and put into a main event title opportunity with Oliveira. So the kids on the Underground were trying to get in front of it, and they were trying to be mean, and they're trying to say that Islam doesn't deserve, I never fully know what the word deserve means, but that he doesn't deserve it because he has not fought anybody in the top 5. And while I tell you that I will concede that that is factually an accurate statement, but it's very misleading, I do stand by that. If you have a 22-1 record, which Islam does, yesterday I was actually boasting about Islam in a different piece, and I was talking about his beautiful record of 15-1. I missed 7 fights. This guy is 22-1. That's very remarkable. And the fight that he lost wasn't even in the UFC. Oh, by the way, he got knocked out, which would lead you with no further evidence to just conclude that he was caught, whether that's accurate or not. I mean, it's one of these things. 22-1. And what we all admit is the most difficult division in the entire industry. Not just within the organization, within the entire industry. That's a beautiful record. So then you want to come out and you want to try to muddy the waters by saying that he hasn't defeated anybody within the top 5. Well, when I tell you I think that's misleading for twofold. First off, he hasn't fought anybody within the top 5. Now, before you think that I just strengthened your argument was very clear in writing on the Underground that he has not beat anybody within the top 5. So it is very different. It's a very different thing that you're saying. That he has not beat anybody in the top 5 versus my statement of, well, he hasn't fought anybody in the top 5. And that is relevant because this just got tested with Chimaev. Chimaev had not beaten anybody in the top 5, but he had not fought anybody within the top 5. And that was true right up until his last contest against Burns. It was the first opportunity that he had. But prior to that contest, Chimaev was booked, right? Do you guys remember this pre-COVID and all of this different stuff? Chimaev was booked to take on Leon, and whoever won that was believed to be going to go fight for the championship. Now, that also would have satisfied the criteria. At that time, Leon was ranked number 3. That would have been Chimaev's debut into number 3. But even absent of that fight, all of the talk everywhere, the questions that Dana was getting asked constantly, the threads and the discussion out there by us within the community is that Chimaev should go right in and take on either Kamaru Usman or Israel Adesanya. Like, that was a belief. And the belief was not just there because he had not beat anybody in the top 5. It was there because the entire top 5 refused to fight him. And what rules are you going to go after, by the way? Because I firmly do believe that the rules of the playground do carry over to the octagon. If you have 2 guys and one refuses to fight the other guy, the class now has their answer. That could have happened in 2nd grade. Whatever that answer is will carry the guy all the way through graduation senior year. All of us knew who the baddest dude in the school was. How many times did you ever see that actually get tested? It's very real. It carries over to the octagon. If Islam is willing and wants to fight the number 2 guy, but he won't give him the match, if I'm not the number 2 guy, we've got our answer. We don't have to see it. If Islam is willing and wants to take on the number 3 guy, the number 4 guy, the number 5 guy, and they won't do the match, we have our answer. And that was good enough for Chimaev. We all accepted it when it was Chimaev, and we should have. If those guys were refusing Chimaev, and they were not only doing that quietly, they were doing it very publicly, no matter what they hung their hat on. Well, he doesn't have enough experience, he doesn't have enough fights, he's not a big enough draw, he hasn't beaten anybody to qualify to get to me. Whatever it is, we've still got our answer. You don't want to fight. We've got our answer. You move Chimaev right in front of him. Which is precisely one of the 2 apparent decisions that are being made right now, apparent options to do with Islam. book him as scheduled, get him in there with Benny. We've kicked the can on that once. We thought we had a rough idea of date, right? Because these dates are never, we're going to do it in September on the 15th. We're going to do it in August on the 12th. It's always, we're going to do it in summer. We're going to do it in the fall. We're going to do it, right? It's like this broad stroke to start with. So when you get this can kicked and you're a prize fighter and you're Islam Makhachev, do we just keep on making him wait to preserve and go and do a fight with Benny that in all fairness, most people don't want to see anyway? I get that we do. I get that the hardcores do. And that's not some kind of a mega fight that you put a guy on ice and you make him wait for. Or do you pull him out and put him into a world title fight? Because we've already been given our evidence. When number 2 and 3 and 4 refused to fight him, we've got our answer. He's better than you. Move him right past him. I don't know. I'm just here to tell you that the statement versus the reality are very different. Having not beaten anybody in the top 5 is very different than he has not fought anybody in the top 5. Trying to fight all of the top 5 guys and having them refuse to fight you, not to mention having a more beautiful record and more decisive outcomes than any of them at some point does matter. So the statement's true. Islam could be the first guy to fight for a title who has not fought anybody, has not beat anybody in the top 5. That statement could be true, but you're going to have to put an asterisk and you're going to have to amend it to the idea that nobody in the top 5 has offered or been willing to fight Islam.